Today I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana, home of the PRI show, the Indy 500, some sports team with a horse, and the state capitol. But we're not here for any of that. Today, I'm here to hang out with my friends Mark and Jamie from Built Shoulda Bought Garage and to check out something awesome that they've been working on. So let's make a cup of coffee and hit the road. All right, let's hit the road. That's good. I'm here with Mark and Jamie. I told you guys we're seeing something kind of special. I under-exaggerated with that. So this is something that they built. Mark's laughing, but we just got back from a car show. There was tons of cars there, and this Blazer got more attention than anything there. And there was a Cobra there, a couple nice Camaros, and everyone's like, what is this? When they realize what it is. So why don't you guys tell me, what exactly am I looking at here?
Go ahead.
You're looking at the Blavette.
What is the Blavette?
It's a Corvette chassis and a Blazer body.
So that's right, folks. This is not just a square body. You guys know I love square bodies, but what's special about this is it is sitting on a C5 chassis. This is a car that shouldn't be, but yet it is, and it is amazing.
Well, and I think we need to point out right away that this is not my car. It's Jamie's.
Yeah, that's what makes this even cooler.
My car.
So, Jamie, what made you want to do this?
Well, I drove Mark's C10, right? And it was pretty fun. I learned how to drive it for autocross, and then he said, I need to build my own. And then him and the
That's some
Treadwear
wisdom.
guys, yeah, they recommended this Frankenstein project.
Yeah, everybody likes to call it Frankenstein. It's not a Frankenstein, and I don't know if the microphone picked up on that, but Treadwear had a big hand in this.
Yeah,
and I don't know if you wanted to say anything.
Yeah. Michael and Lee for Treadwear. If you guys aren't following them, I don't know where you're at, because they build some of the wildest things, and if just like this, they will inspire you to try stuff that you're like, I don't think I should do this, but then you see them doing it, you're like, I want to try this.
Right. And so what happened was Jamie decided she wanted her own vehicle, and Michael had his family up in Nashville, Indiana for the weekend. We ran down and had dinner with them, and we're sitting there talking, and we'd been brainstorming about what to build. Jamie and Michael goes, hey, a C5 and a K5, they're pretty daggone close in wheelbase. And after that, and Jamie was with us. After that, it was over. We were doing it.
Because Michael could just rattle off those numbers like just amazing. Like, hey, this will work and that'll work. It's just like watching him build the stuff. It's like,
the guy,
how did you make this work? But he's like, oh, I just did it.
Yeah. Well, and, I've kind of, my favorite phrase nowadays, and I kind of stole it from Michael, but I kind of adapted it to my own, is that none of us know what we're doing until we do it. And we had absolutely no clue how to do this. And just to kind of run down the story, it was a wrecked C5. Tim Davis from Sally's Speed Shop, he helped us out on this because, was it Rome, Georgia?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was in Rome, Georgia. Anyway, the Corvette was in Georgia. I called Tim. He ran over and bought it for us, took it back to their shop. And then it was about this time of year, right?
Yeah.
Well, we found the Blazer in a field just a couple miles from here, $500, pulled it home, completely rusted out in the bottom, but it was rusted in all the right places because everything we were going to cut out was already destroyed, and so that was good. Jamie and I loaded up the Blazer body, drug it down to Noonan, Georgia, where Sally's Speed Shop is, and then from
Another people you guys should be following if you're not, because they build some really cool stuff.
From there, we drove to Alabama, where Treadwear guys are, and in one weekend, we got the initial mating of the two put together. And then we came home, and it took us about a year to finish it from there.
So I guess now we should walk around this to show people, because when you walk up on this, it does not look like a Corvette.
No, and as a matter of fact, we'll be at a show, and people will walk by, and they'll be like, oh, yeah, let's swap the Blazer.
Yeah.
And then just, because they don't take the time to look.
Exactly.
much more work went into it than that.
All right, so it's a 2000 C5 with a 90 Blazer body and a 78 clip.
Which is one of the best square body clips.
Yeah,
It's
Jamie insisted on round eye, and I couldn't argue. And so, and what's amazing is, I mean, everything basically fits up. So it fit up fairly well. We cut out the entire floor pan. We did weld all through here, and then down here we welded. We took square tubing and basically welded in a frame. If you want to come over here, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not, but you want me to get a light?
oh, we can see it.
Okay, so the Corvette ends right here,
Mhm.
and the Blazer ends right here. So we had to fill in that gap, and we still have a lot of fit and finish to do yet. You can see here it's kind of. But basically, what I did is I took fleece, the fleece that you buy like at Walmart, the blankets.
Yeah.
Right. It's an old subwoofer trick.
Hmm.
The guys back when the Thumpers first came out, this is how they did their boxes. You just stretch the fleece, you hot glue it, then you take resin, coat it, and it tightens up. And then we fiberglass it and a little Bondo. And I'm not good with Bondo, but Jamie loves fiberglass.
I did, but now I don't.
Back here, we moved the battery to the back. Now, one of the coolest features is this right here. We had the QA1 mod series all the way around. So we lost the mono leaf. We pulled that out.
But you guys had so much fun taking that out.
It was crazy, silly, hard to get the leaf out.
Yeah.
Once we got the leaf out, it was a piece of cake going back together. In fact, we've had it back apart a couple times because we had the spring rate wrong. I don't know. What else you want to know?
Oh, Tom, so
Jamie's going to tell you everything.
so the wheelbase was off by what, 5 inches?
2.
2 inches. So you want to show them, because if you're looking at this, you're not going to be able to tell, but show them what you guys did to make it look like it does.
Okay. We cut this out, right? We
Yeah.
did. And then we moved it back or forward?
Forward.
We moved it forward 2 inches.
So initially, the wheel was hugging the front of the wheel well.
Mhm.
And so we just basically zapped it out, moved it forward, and recentered the wheel. And you really can't,
No, with the paint on there, you can't tell now.
no, you really can't see it. Now, the paint, we rolled it on.
Which some people might cringe, but you guys actually like to enjoy your cars and not worry about, is it shiny?
Well,
Right.
and we wanted it to look like an old race car.
Yeah.
Right? And so the black is,
Tractor?
where do we get it? Rural King. Rural King. And
Love a Roll King.
the silver came from Sherwin-Williams. It's actually metal roof paint.
That's awesome.
And then the red is just out of a rattle can. So, and then we sanded the whole thing.
There's
And
been lots of mistakes, and acetone can take away any problem.
so one of my favorite things about this is so the Corvette had, like I said, it was wrecked
Mm.
and it had some frame damage that we didn't realize how bad it was until we already had everything kind of mated up. And we had to get it on a frame rack, which that in itself was not fun trying to find somebody that would actually work on it. And then what was my point? Oh, it's just we kept running into these problems. And every time I'd look over at Jamie and she would ask me,
What would I ask you?
you would say, what do we do now?
What do we do now?
Let's do that again.
Yeah.
So every time we'd run into a roadblock, I'd look at Jamie and
say, what do we do now?
I'm like, I don't know, but we'll fix it.
That's what YouTube's for.
Exactly.
Well, and actually, we didn't really YouTube a whole lot on this. We did make a lot of phone calls to Treadwear, and we had lots of people come. You know that saying, it takes a village
Mhm.
to raise up a child?
Yeah.
Well, it takes a village to do a project like this, right? And I have lots of village idiots that helped,
Yeah, you do.
that helped us. No, we had a ton of guys that from all over the country. And right here we're in the racing capital of the U.S. and a lot of guys that do this stuff professionally were over here helping, scratching their heads, trying to figure things out. And I got to brag on Jamie. A year ago, she didn't know what a screwdriver was,
And now she's built this with you, which it's amazing.
she welded most of it.
I did learn how to weld, but I need help with everything. That's okay. It's fun tasks for help and fun to learn something new.
And that's the encouraging thing about this build that you guys did, that Jamie, you're showing young girls out there, and as a dad with 2 daughters at home, it's encouraging to me. It's like, hey, there's people that they can look up to, say, hey, that they've never tried this before. It's okay to learn. It's okay to make mistakes, because at the end of the day, you're having fun and you're learning.
Right. You don't want to know how many times I've turned a wrench the wrong way.
We all do. So
Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. It's something we
especially when it's upside down, I get confused. I'm like, which way did I?
upside down and backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. What else you want to know, Eddie?
Well, this is another thing that I think people, because you and I have talked about this a lot, where people are like, oh, it must be nice. You have this nice garage. They don't realize, like, you have a gravel driveway and a tiny shop. And then the best part is, yes, you guys went to Treadware initially to build this, but that tree right there, folks, is what they use right there. They use this to raise and lower the body several times, which is just,
It's getting dark. I don't know if you can
yeah,
see it.
it's crazy. You can see it, but yeah, it's,
Here's the chain fall.
yeah. So once again, this is just showing people that no matter what your situation is, you don't have an excuse not to build a project car.
Absolutely not. I mean, if you look at the garage, I mean, it's got 7-foot tall ceilings.
Yeah, it's,
And several times on that tree is not an exaggeration.
Yeah.
One time I thought we were almost done, and then we took the whole body off again.
yeah, I remember watching the videos. I'm like, they just had it back on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you do a project like this, there's no blueprint, right? There's
Yeah.
no, you can't really watch a YouTube video
Yeah.
on it. And so it's all trial and error. You put it on, you pull it off, you cut, you do it again. And and we're a year into it and we're not done.
Mm-mm.
We still have stuff to do.
Even though you're like, hey, we're going to move on to the next one. Like a good car guy and girl, it's like, we're going to start another one because this one's done enough that we can enjoy it. And
Right.
Right, but I mean, even last night, I was out here pilling on it for a couple hours, just doing little things here or there, and so yeah, it'll never be done.
no, they never are.
But if I don't get that running soon,
You might be living
Beth,
outside.
I won't be able to do another project for me until that one's done.
Yeah,
We're on it.
you've got
we are. We're on it.
you've got a very patient wife like I do, where they're like, it's fine, but in the back of your mind, I have a timeline that if I don't get this done, this is the last one I'm allowed to drag home.
Exactly.
So you guys have put just a lot of cool features. This is one of those things that the more you look at it, the more you see.
Hopefully you can see it in the dark.
Yeah, it's so.
Tell us what you did, Mark.
Can you see the exhaust?
Yeah.
So this thing has Borla exhaust, right? It's what was on it when we bought it.
Mhm.
But when it was wrecked, it took a smack back here, and the Borla was all twisted and goobered up. And so we wanted it to come out. We knew we wanted to do something cool back here. We originally were going to do a splitter, but this thing sits so low to the ground.
It is so low.
So we were talking one day and we're like, well, let's just run the exhaust out through the back. So a buddy of mine, Chad, he actually fabbed up the cutouts, and then he and I put it all together. And interesting story, we were going to LS Fest. I actually wanted to leave at like 2 that afternoon.
Mhm.
At 5, we were just starting to pack up. Okay. And Jamie's standing over here and she goes, hey, the exhaust doesn't look right. I look, and the exhaust over here is hanking down.
Oh.
So I go in there to try and adjust it. Well, the whole thing fell off. So at 5, we start jacking this thing up. And a neighbor down the road, Buddy, was up here, and he and I basically rebuilt this side. And then we rolled that night. What time did we leave? Like 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, we left
9
out
or
at
2.
9 for Bowling Green. Got down there about 2. Thought of something else. Oh, you need to look at the inside.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can you see?
I can't see that. We're going to have to get a light for that one.
Light we have. Here, Jamie, go to the other side and hold that light.
Oh, there we
Here, Mark, probably.
go.
About
Here
this
you go.
or-
I'll take it.
My high-tech Oh yeah, here we go.
All right, so as you can see, if you look down here, we had to raise the seats up 4 inches because if not, you cannot see over this dash, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, the legroom is a little tight, but it's still very doable. And you're still sitting so low because the Corvette sits that low, but you get used to it fairly quick.
Yeah.
Well, Eddie, you were here.
Yeah, I actually got to help with that part.
You did help with that as we were banging and grinding, trying to get the old seat bolt studs out. But then you can see we still have some work to do. We have some painting to do and some smoothing. And as I said earlier, we've got this part to figure out. We'll close it in. This is a Jeep CJ Surround, and that's a Hummer gas cap.
I love it.
So, I mean, you call it, the girls like to call it a Frankenstein. It is kind of Frankenstein together. Yeah. And then I don't know if you can see back here, but I mean, it's basically Corvette.
Yeah.
We do have a back seat.
Yeah.
Out of a seat or a
Wrangler.
Yeah. That we haven't put in there yet.
Mark and Jamie, thank you guys for taking the time to show me Blexy and everybody else and inspire some people to, hey, get out there, get wrenching, because it doesn't matter if you don't know what you're doing.
No.
And that's the fun part about, like you and I were talking on the way back from the car shows, with social media today, you can find somebody that's willing to help you.
Oh, absolutely.
That's how we met.
Right.
We met on Instagram and we became friends, and now they've let me hang out at their house for the last 5 months being here in Indiana.
But you haven't been here as much as we thought you would.
Work.
Oh, okay.
They pay me really well for overtime,
and
I've got 2 project cars now, so I have.
You do.
So I mean, if I don't start bringing some,
we weren't going to bring that up, were we?
We weren't. But
it's a Ford.
Well, I'm trying to be a little more diverse.
Hey, wait a minute. I never want it to be said that I am politically intolerant. I have a Volkswagen.
You do. That's what I say. Like
there.
That's the great thing too about it, is like you find people that have different interests, and the reason I ended up with a Ford is because my Ford friends back in North Carolina kept hanging out with them. Like, they've all got Fox bodies. They got weird Fox bodies. Like, I need one. I don't know why.
It's okay. You don't have to justify it. It's all right.
But thank you guys so much. And if you guys have a unique vehicle or just something that has a cool story, drop it in the comments, because I would love to share your story. Thank you guys again. And until next time, everybody, happy hunting.